Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Carl from Planet 40k, and today we're going to be continuing on with the new Necron Codex. So we're going to be going through the new Cryptek Arcana rules and abilities. So firstly, let me explain exactly what the Cryptek Arcana actually is. So if you're using a Battleforged Necron army, any crypteks that you select while building your army, you may choose to select one of the Arcana abilities listed in the table. They've each got a power level cost or a points cost if you're playing points. However, named crypteks cannot choose any of these options. It's also worth mentioning that these do not interact with any of your codex relics in any way, so you can give your relics to your crypteks as well as these Cryptek Arcanas. Also, only one type of Arcana can be used per army, so no doubling up on the same ones. So looking at the new types of Cryptek models in the book, it feels like they've gone back to the old editions of the past where you can have different types that are quite different from one another. In the edition that's just gone, Cryptek simply help with reanimation protocols. None of the new Crypteks do this now. I'll be doing a review video of each type of Cryptek at a later date, so keep your eyes out for those. Right, so let's get stuck into the selections. So the first is ATAVINDICATOR, which is a +1 to your power level or 25 points cost. This applies to Psychomancer models only. At the end of the movement phase, select an enemy unit, excluding vehicles, that is within 18 inches. Roll 3d6, and if your total is equal or greater than your target's leadership, they then suffer d3 mortal wounds. So this one's not a bad option, it's not too overpowered. On average, you should be rolling equal to or more than a unit's leadership, so this should be going off almost every turn. Obviously you need to be within range. It should make its points back quite easily, so it's a decent one, this one. The next one is CORTICAL SUBJUGATOR SCARABS. Costs 1 power level or 15 points, so it's one of the cheaper options here. This is a once per battle only. At the start of the hero intervention step of your opponent's charge phase, select a friendly dynasty unit within 6 inches of the bearer. Unless that unit is in engagement range of another enemy unit, it can use heroic intervention as if it was a character. I'm not so fussed about this option, if I'm honest. I'm sure there'll be occasions where this would be great, but your Cryptek's got to be pretty close to the action. However, it does mean that you can babysit your warrior blobs with a close combat unit within 6 to intervene if they come under attack. So this does depend on your playstyle, I guess. COUNTERTEMPORAL NANOMINES cost 2 power level or 30 points, so this is one of the more expensive options. So this applies to the Chronomancer models only. So in the shooting phase, select an enemy unit within 18 inches. Until the start of the next turn, that unit's advance and charge rolls are halved. A different Cryptek actually has this built in, which is the Psychomancer, but this is the Chronomancer only. So it will slow your enemy down for a turn. It will give you a chance to blow them off the board. Also can be used to slow the buffing characters that are flanking the combat units that are coming after you. So it'd be preventing the buffs if they were slowed down but the other unit made it. Also could be handy stopping a unit from getting to an objective, so it's a valid option. CRYPTOGEOMETRIC Adjuster, which costs 1 power or 15 points. Another one of the cheaper options here. At the start of the opponent's shoot phase, select a visible enemy unit within 12 inches. And until the end of that phase, they have a -1 to hit. So another okay selection here. If you can plant this on a really good target that really relies on their shooting, then it could really aid your guys, and it's only 15 points, so using this every turn. Bear in mind it's only 12-inch range, so it does lack there a little bit. Next we've got the Dimensional SANCTUM. So it's 1 power level or 15 points. Bear again to Dimensional Translocation ability, which is effectively deep strike for your deployment. I'm not quite keen on this. Crypteks are pretty safe in the early rounds if they're surrounded by, infantry, warriors and whatnot, or cryptophiles as well. So deep striking them, you can only really gain an objective perhaps, or unless you've got a bit of a plot where you're using strategic reserves and you're bringing another unit in off the side of the board and then meeting them there maybe. But other than that, I don't really know why you'd want to deep strike one of these. Up next is the FAILSAFE OVERCHARGER, 2 power level or 30 points. This applies to the Technomancer models only. So in your command phase, select a friendly Canoptic unit within 9 inches. Until the next command phase, add 1 to their attacks. And if the model is a monster or vehicle, add d3 extra attacks. So this one is carnage, as you can whack this on a group of spiders, so they're all getting d3 attacks each. Then also the Technomancer himself provides a +1 hit buff to Canoptic units, so the spider units have got a lot stronger in this codex, I believe. Definitely worth looking at that one. HYPERMATERIAL ABLATOR, 1 power level or 25 points. In your command phase, select a Dynasty Core or Dynasty Canoptic unit within 9. Until the start of the next command phase, if the unit is attacked by a ranged weapon that is more than 12 inches away, then you get the benefits of light cover, which is effectively +1 to your saving throw. So putting this in on a load of warriors would be fantastic, making your warriors even harder to take down. So I do quite like this one. And again, it does pair nicely with your spiders. You could be giving your spider 2+ save, and your wraiths too, I guess. So it's really aiding a lot of different units there. Metalodermal Tesla Weave, 1 power or 20 points. At the end of the charge step of your opponent's charge phase, select an enemy unit within 6 that finished a charge. Roll a d6, and on a 2+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So like in some of the previous Arcanas, this involves putting your Cryptek pretty close to the enemy. If it's a warrior blob that's been charged, then you may be able to slightly assist them, but on average you'll be killing one Primaris Marine, and the situation itself needs to arise for this to happen in the first place, so I'm not a fan of this one. Next we have the Photonic TRANSUBJECTOR at 1 power or 20 points. Once per turn, on the first time the bearer takes damage, the damage is reduced to 0. So not sure how I feel about this one. For big damage weapons it's obviously great, but is he going to be getting shot at? Not really if he's protected correctly. So I'm thinking more likely it's going to be in combat if he gets caught out. So it says the first time he takes damage, so this could be a single attack from a single damage model within a unit. So if I'm my opponent, I simply just save my Power Fist or the other big weapons until last and use all the small stuff. If I did manage to target the Cryptek in shooting, the same would apply there. I'd use a small arms fire to pick off that one wound that will get ignored, and then the Arcan ability is gone. So the PHYLACERINE Hive is next, 1 power or 20 points. So it's a Technomancer only, it's a once per battle only. So when the bearer uses its rites of reanimation, select a Dynasty Canoptic unit or a Dynasty's Destroyer Cult or a Triarch Praetorian unit to be effective with this ability rather than a core unit. So keep referring to spiders, so being able to revive a full spider is pretty neat. And as I said in the previous Technomancer Arcana, they give spiders a +1 to hit as well, so the synergy is pretty good there. Also works nice on destroyers of course, as reanimation has really done a number on those kind of units with the multi-wounds. They're pretty hard to reanimate now. I think they're most effective on things like spiders. Prismatic Obfuscatron, that's a mouthful. 1 power level or 20 points. This gives the bearer the old character rule of not being able to be targeted unless it's the closest enemy unit. Not for me this one, as you're most likely going to be with some other units anyway. I don't think it's needed. And finally, Quantum Orb, so 1 power and 20 points. Plasmancer model only, once per battle only. In the command phase, select 1 point on the battlefield that is within 24 inches of the bearer. Place a marker on the battlefield. Then on your next command phase, roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of the marker, subtracting 1 if it's a character unit. And on a 4 or a 5, that unit takes d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, it's 3 mortal wounds. This one seems fun to use, so throw it at an objective to prevent your opponent from wanting to go anywhere near it. Throw it in the centre of their deployment zone and watch them change up their plans from turn 1. Likely to be splitting their army into 2 to avoid it. Any type of rule or ability that plays with your opponent's planning I really love, so I definitely will be taking this. It's not as strong as Orbital Bombardment, but it doesn't cost any CP, it's just straight points, and that's a lot better in my opinion. So that's all 12 Cryptek Arcanas. Let me know in the comments which one you'll be using, or which ones you just don't like at all. Again, going from the previous videos, have you got any good combos to synergize with these, or with other units or warlord traits, relics? I'll be pinning the best combo at the top of the comments down below. If you found this video useful, please drop us a like and subscribe, as we're putting out a fair amount of content. We're going to be starting our unit reviews next week, so keep an eye out for that. And finally, if you've yet to have a peek at our Patreon service, go check that out, links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.